Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Tori if you're new here, and today I am showing you some easy meals from the prepper pantry. I have escaped to this little playroom here and I'm sitting on the rocker, so I will try not to rock, but you have your prepper pantry, you have your food. Now it's time to start cycling through the food that you have. As we all know, I am plant-based, so I am going to give you some options for the standard American diet as well, but these are 3 easy meals that can cost you less than, I mean, $1 a serving, and they are semi-nutritious for you. So I tried to think outside the box. I picked ingredients that really needed to get used up. So if you are in my shoes and needing to start cycling through the pantry, this is your video. If you are new here, we would love it if you hit that subscribe button. We make videos all week about life on a budget here in Northern Colorado. We would love it if you became part of our YouTube family, so make sure your bell notification is turned on, and we are going to get right into this. I am so excited to show you these ingredients. I really challenged myself and I found ways to utilize these as leftovers as well. So you might be seeing a few, someone has found me in here if you hear my daughter. So you may see a few meals that you can make into different meals, and that is honestly how I stretch our budget, and that is how I save money in the kitchen. So if you are excited, let's get right into today's video. First up is a classic in my family. It is a take on ham and bean soup, but with no ham. It is my understanding from my Pennsylvania Grange cookbook that it is a Old Navy recipe, which explains why my dad taught me how to make this. My grandfather was in the Navy, so I think that's where he got it from. I could be wrong though. But you need some veggie broth, some sort of beans. We're going to try those Enola beans. You could use this canned sliced carrot, and these no salt added cut green beans. I actually prefer these green beans to fresh. And then if you want, you can use diced potatoes to make this completely shelf stable. Because I have them from the garden, I'm going to be using my carrots and my potatoes. And I did want to throw this in here. This would be a great additive. This is natural soup greens and they are dehydrated. There's onions, celery, carrots, all of the things in there. Big shout to Colleen for getting me this. I miss all of my Amish markets back home. You could use minced onion too. I'm a huge onion fan, so you could put that in there. And then I'm using smoked sea salt to mimic that ham flavor, as well as a splash of red wine vinegar and some liquid smoke. So first things first, we need to start out by just taking these diced potatoes and getting the starch out. So I rinse them twice and then I put them in the refrigerator with some salt and cold water and leave them while the beans are cooking. So I'm doing 1 cup of dried beans to 2 cups of veggie stock. If you wanted to be low sodium, you could just do straight water. And then I'm doing 2 more cups of regular water, and then you will see later on I actually end up adding 3 more cups. I know it's confusing. I will type out the recipe down below. After the beans went for about an hour, started adding the rest of the vegetables. This is when you could add your ham hock, your cubed ham. If you are doing ham in this recipe, it's not necessary. It still has a lot of flavor with those veggies, and that red wine vinegar is key. We don't know why. My dad doesn't know why. It just is something that you add to soups with beans. So I'm going to let this simmer covered for around 2 hours, and then it's good to go. You could absolutely make this in the crock pot. I will leave those instructions in the recipe box down below. That's what we're going to call it now instead of description. It just came out that way. So I love this recipe. I serve it with some yummy crusty bread. Let me know if you give this one a try. You could also use pinto beans in this recipe. Typically we are using Great Northern beans. The next recipe is my take on cowboy caviar. This can be used in so many recipes. I can't wait to share how how I make mine. I am using some sweet corn. You can use canned corn, and a diced sweet potato. You could use canned yams in this recipe. I am roasting it with some olive oil, salt, and pepper at 400 for around 15 minutes. And then I'm going to get started on the second mixture. I have mixed chili beans and some diced tomatoes, and I have some green chilies. You could just use straight black beans and some Rotel, but this is what I had on my shelf that needed to be used up. So I am going to rinse everything, including the chili beans. It's just not the flavor that I need for this, but you do not have to rinse it. It's just something I do when it comes to canned items. So after the sweet potato and corn mixture was baked, I ended up just adding some lime juice and a few seasonings, garlic, salt, and pepper. You could add cumin and chili powder to this if that's the kind of Southwest flavor you're going for. But I will say this is a base. We use it in many different recipes. You could just serve it standard with chips, but there are so many possibilities with this recipe. I try and make something like this every single week in general, just having a base like that to throw into things. But here it is. I kind of laid out some ingredients here. I let this sit overnight, and the flavors just really go awesome together. If that was a husk of the corn there, but if you needed to add some extra protein, go ahead and add some canned chicken breast or canned beef, whatever your favorite extra canned protein is. More beans is always fine, but there's a lot of nutrients in this mixture. So starting with pasta, you could make a macaroni and cheese out of this with some sort of shelf-stable cheese like Velveeta or something like that, or you could make a cold pasta salad, and you could do my chickpea liquid mayo if you wanted, aquafaba mayo, or you could just use your classic mayo. I will say my go-to, because I live in a heavily Hispanic populated town, is going for that type of food. So I mean, I do have access to really phenomenal food, and I have access to people that have the recipes for that kind of food. So I love making tamales. Am I good at it? Not so much, but they are really tasty. You could make tamales, enchiladas, nachos. You could make breakfast burritos with extra eggs. You could make a Nourish Bowl, which is what we are going to be making here in a second. There are just so many options for this base, and it serves a bunch on the cheap. So I suggest you make this or something similar to this, because it is oh so amazing. So here tonight I have some of this mixture, and then I made cheesy rice with zucchini. So I just threw in some zucchini. I found some of the Sam's Club pretzel cheese that they serve with their pretzels. My son insisted that we got it, and it was a little too spicy for him, so I had been saving it, but it can be shelf stable. And I just mixed it with my rice there. And then I did the canned chicken with one of those taco kit taco sauces with cumin. I have chili powder in here, salt, pepper, garlic, and oregano. I just mixed that together on high heat and put it on top of my husband's bowl here. So I have rice, I have the cowboy caviar mixture. I don't know if we can call it that. It's my take on it. And then I just have some cheese and sour cream. And this is how I get my servings. If you're ever curious, I measure everything out. So moving on to these delicious pizza rolls. They are amazing. The kids really love these. There are different ways you can make this too, but today we are going to do pizza rolls. So what I mean by different ways to make it, you can make it into a regular pizza. You could make this on a waffle iron, which is our favorite way to do it, but we wanted to try a pizza roll because we see them in the store all the time. It's not something I typically buy. I have pizza crust mix here. I already put it into there. Yes, you can make your own pizza crust mix. You just need baking powder, baking soda, and flour. And then if you wanted to add some extra protein to this, you could try this rolling chicken breast here in the can, mix it with some hot sauce and do like a buffalo chicken with the Alfredo. Or you could go completely different on here and get this Wolf brand chili. If you watch It's Always Sunny, they're always talking about Wolf brand cola, and I just think it's hilarious. Moving on, you could use this shelf-stable Parmesan cheese. You would need to have a few recipes in mind though, because this isn't something that you can open and let it sit. At least I never have. You just put it in the refrigerator. So you have to refrigerate it after opening is what they say or recommend. And then I just have your classic tomato sauce. So shelf-stable items, really easy. This does not make a ton, I will say that. It's just a nice little snack, but if you add that chicken or add that chili, I think it would be extra filling. So I am adding some olive oil, Italian seasoning, and garlic powder. According to this brand, you are supposed to use a half cup of hot water, but I have never done that. I've only used warm water, and then I add flour to the pan. So this is really easy to mix together. You don't have to wait for it to rise or anything. But if I am feeding my family, I am doing 2 packages of this. So I'm spraying the pan with some avocado oil, and then I am going to roll this out with just a sprinkle of flour on each side and my rolling pin. And then all I'm doing is putting some of the sauces on the bottom with the Parmesan cheese. Again, you could add your classic pepperoni if you have that. You could do chicken. You could do some sort of like shelf-stable cheese if you wanted like Velveeta, but this is how I'm doing it. So the Alfredo sauce that I get, the Prego, is $1.25 at the Dollar Tree right now. That's the cheapest I've found it, unless I find some great sale on Alfredo sauce. But I do remember the days of Walmart Alfredo sauce being like $1.30 for the 16-ounce jar, but long ago. Not really though, like a year. We have Parmesan cheese, and then we're just gonna roll it. So I am rolling it up, and then I'm gonna cut it into pieces now. I've seen people just leave it intact and then cut it when it comes out of the oven, but it's totally up to you. And I do have my oven preheated at 425 in this heat just for this video, but I am cutting these into little squares here, little circles. I should know that. I'm an art teacher. They're circles, right? And we are going to put it in the oven at 425 for around 15 minutes, and then you're just going to serve that with some extra marinara. Alrighty everyone, that is going to do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed all of these tasty meals. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. I hope this inspired you to save a little bit of cash this week and shop your shelves. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative. I'll see you next time. Bye everyone.